Okay, I'm going to discuss a few there's going to be 5 problems that I discuss. One's going to be a solution problem, one's going to be a sought average, one's going to be how many of each with money, and using this formula for time to do it together or time to do it alone. Okay? Taylor needs 30 milliliters of a 35% solution of alcohol in water. Available are 20% solution and 60% solution. How many milliliters of each are needed? So we will let X equal ml of 20% solution. Y will equal milliliters of 60% solution. Okay? Now, there's two ways to do this the way I'm thinking of. Okay? One, option A. Total number 1. So we're going to write 2 systems. We're going to use two unknowns, and we're going to write 2 equations with those 2 unknowns. So total number 1, total volume. So total volume, X milliliters of 20% solution plus Y milliliters of 60% solution will equal 30 milliliters of total solution. Okay? Next, I'm doing total number 2. Okay? That's going to be total alcohol. Okay? Well, 60% of X plus, I'm sorry, not 60%. That's 20% of solution. So 20% of X plus 60% of Y, that's going to be alcohol. So 20% of X plus 60% of Y is going to be alcohol. And on the other side, you're going to have 35% of 30 milliliters. Okay? So to say 20% of X, I would take 0.2X. 0.2 times X. Because 20% of the decimal is 0.2. 60% of X would be 0.6X. Or 0.6Y, sorry. 60% of Y would be 0.6Y. And then 35% of 30 would be 0.35 times 30. Okay? I'll use my calculator for that. So, 0.35 times 30 is going to be 10.5. So I have 0.2X plus 0.6Y equals that. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do X plus Y equals 30, and I'm going to solve both variables, or this equation for both variables. X equals Y equals. Okay? If I want to get X by its own sum, I would subtract Y from this and from this. So that's got to be 30 minus Y. If I want Y equals something, I'd subtract the X from this side and this side. So it'd be 30 minus X. So with option A, what I would be doing is, it doesn't matter which one you plug in. Okay? I could do 0.2 times 30 minus Y plus 0.6Y equals 10.5. Okay? Distribute. And that gives me 6 minus 0.2Y plus 0.6Y equals 10.5. Okay? Let me double check that I did 0.2 times 30 correctly. I did, okay. Good. These two combine into 6 plus 0.4y equals 10.5. Okay, subtract the 6. 0.4y equals 4.5. Let me finish the problem over here. 0.4y equals 4.5. Now, if I wanted to do this multiplication by 0.4, I simply divide that 0.4 off. Okay, so y equals 4.5 divided by 0.4, that is 11.25. Okay, so since x, and x would equal 30 minus 11.25, which is 18.75. So we need 18.75 milliliters of 20% solution. And we need 11.25 milliliters of 60% solution. Okay? As I said, it doesn't matter what you put in. Okay? So if option B would have everything being the same. Okay? So what I'll do is I'll do this again. Option B would do the same up to the substitution step. So let me go ahead and erase all this, and I'll pretend to start all over. Okay? So total volume number 1. Okay, so total number 1, total volume. That would be this amount plus this amount would have to equal 30 milliliters total. Okay? Total number 2, total alcohol. Well, 20% of X plus 60% of Y will be alcohol. Okay? On the opposite side, 35% of 30 milliliters would be alcohol. Okay? Now, to explain 20% of X, that would be 20% as a decimal is 0.2, so that would be 0.2 times X. And 60% of Y, well, 60% in decimal form is 0.6. And that's going to be 0.35 times 30. Okay? Which I just did, it's 10.5. Now, again, like I did with option A, I'm going to put X plus Y equals 30. X equals, Y equals. Okay? If I want to get X by its lonesome, I'd subtract Y here and subtract Y there. So 30 minus Y. If I want Y alone, I would subtract the X here, I'd subtract the X here. So 30 minus X. Okay. On option A, I replaced X. Here on option B, I'm going to replace Y. So 30 minus X equals 10.5. Okay? So this is going to distribute. This is going to be 0.2X plus, well, 0.6 times 30, 18. Minus 0.6X equals 10.5. Okay? When these two are combined, this gives me negative 0.4x plus 18 equals 10.5. Subtract the 18, and we have negative 0.4x equals 10.5 minus 18 is negative 7.5. Don't panic, okay? We got negatives on both sides. That will cancel. So I'm going to continue the problem over here, like so. And I'm going to divide off that negative 0.4. Like as it says, and divide by negative 0.4. X is 18.75. Well, y equals 30 minus the x, which is 11.25. So we need 18.75 milliliters of 20% solution, and we need 11.25 milliliters of 60% solution. Okay, either way, we got the same answer. Okay, I'm going to pause this and put the next problem on the board. All right, so having done the solution problem, we now move on to the sought average. Sean has test scores of 82, 65, and 77. Sean wants an average of 75. What score on the next test would give that average? Well, here's what we know. There are actually 4 tests here. 4 tests. Okay? 82, 65, 77, unknown next. Okay? That's actually 4 tests. So we could think of this as 82, 65, 77, and X. Okay, the unknown next that we need. Okay? Well, when you are averaging together a bunch of numbers, what you do is you add the numbers up and then you divide by the number of values that you have. So to find the average of these 4 things, you'd have 82, you'd add up 82, 65, 77, and X. And you would be dividing it by 4. If you knew what these were, to find the average of these 4, you'd add them all up and divide by 4, because there's 4 date items. Okay? Now, you don't know what X is, but you know you want an average of 75. Okay? All right, what I propose to do is I propose to go ahead and add all these up. Okay? So 82 plus 65 plus 77 plus, well, I don't know. That's what I don't know what X is. So that's going to be 224 plus X over 4 equals 75. Okay? Now, what we want to do next is we want to clear our fractions. So the least common denominator is 4, so 224 plus X over 4 equals 75 times 4. Okay, I'm going to move over to this side. These 4's cancel, which is what they're supposed to do. And I get 224 plus X equals 300. Okay? Subtract the 224. And X equals 300 minus 224, 76. So Sean needs to get a 76 on the next test to have an average of 75. All right, I'm going to pause this and set up the next problem. Okay, we have gotten the solution problem out of the way and a sought average out of the way. Now we're going to look for how many of each for multiple categories with money. So an event has 1,040 people attending. Adult tickets cost $9 and children's tickets cost $7 each. Total receipts were $8,744. How many of each attended? Okay, so this is going to be a problem where we do total number 1 and that's going to be people. And actually, no, let me backtrack. We're going to determine, we're going to name the names. A will be adults, C will be children. So total number 1, people. Okay, people. Well, adults plus children will equal 1,040. Okay? Total number 2, money. Okay, the total amount of money brought in. Well, you're going to be bringing in, think about this, okay? If you admit, let's talk about adults. If you admit 1 adult, you bring in $9 1 time. You admit 2 adults, you bring in $9 2 times. You bring in 3 adults, you bring in $9 3 times. If you bring in 8 adults, you bring in $9 8 times. So it's going to be 9 times adults plus, every time you admit 1 child, it's $7. 2 children, $7 2 times. 3 children, $7 3 times. C children, $7 C times. So 7 times children. Okay? So that's 9A plus 7C equals 8744. All right. Now, what we can do from here is same with a problem I did. Example 1, I could do A equals, I could do C equals. If I want adults, I'll be subtracting C from this and this, so 1,040 minus C. If I want C by its own sum, I'd subtract A from both sides. 1,040 minus A. It doesn't matter which one you plug in. Okay? For option A, I'll just do this one. So that'd be 9 times 1,040 minus C plus 7C equals 8744. Okay? Distribute. 9 times 1,040 is 9,360. Minus 9C plus 7C equals 8744. Okay? And these two combine into minus 2C. Okay? So, I want to get the minus 2C by its lonesome, so I will subtract. And negative 2C equals 8744 minus 9360, negative 616. Okay? Divide off that negative 2. And I get C is 308. Okay? Well, adults would equal 1,040 minus 308. Okay? Which is 732. Okay? So that amounts to 732 adults and 308 children. Okay? Option B would be to do the same thing. A is adults, C is children, total number 1, people. So A plus C is 1,040. Total number 2, money. Okay, what's going to be, as far as money goes, it's going to be the $9 times adults plus $7 times the children. And that's $87.44. All right, now, I want A equals, I want C equals. So if I want A by its lonesome, I subtract a C from both sides. If I want C by its lonesome, I subtract A from both sides. So in option 1, in option A, I chose to replace A. In option B, I'll replace C. Like so. Okay? Distribute 9A plus 7 times 1,040, 7280. Minus 7A equals 87.44. And these two combine into 2A plus 7280 equals 87.44. Okay, subtract the 7280, and you end up with 2A equals 87.44 minus 7280, 1464. Divide off the 2, and A is 732. C would be 1,040 minus 732, which is 308. So it's 732 adults, 308 children. Okay, either way, you get the same answer. Okay, I'm going to pause this and set up the next problem. All right, we have taken care of how many of each with money. So now we're going to be finishing up with 2 problems of this. That we're assuming that 2 units people are working independently. The time it would take them to do this to do a task together is 1 over A plus 1 over B equals 1 over T, where A is the time it would take for person A or unit A to do task alone. B is the amount of time it would take the second unit or person to do the task alone. T is the amount of time it takes to do the task together. Okay, so for instance, there's something like mowing the yard where each of them have 2 different lawnmowers. Okay, or obviously if there's 2 people but 1 lawnmower, that's not working independently because what one does affects what the other does. Okay. So for this problem, it takes the south printer 6 minutes to make 40 copies of the department handbook. It takes the north copier 5 minutes to do the same task, make 40 copies of the department handbook. Find how long it would take the 2 of them to put out 40 copies working together. Okay, well, one over plus 1 over equals 1 over. Okay? The south printer takes 6 minutes. I'll let that be A, working alone. The north copier takes 5 minutes, working alone. The mystery is how long it takes the 2 of them to do the task together. Okay? Well, the LCD of this fraction, the least common denominator of 6 and 5 is 30. You're going to need to tack on the T. Okay? So we will now take 1/6 times 30T plus 1/5 times 30T. Okay, I'm going to switch sides and try to write that more neatly. 30T equals 1 over T times 30T. Okay, now something's going to cancel on all of these. 30 divided by 6 is 5. The t is unaffected. 30 divided by 5 is 6. The t is unaffected. And here, the t's are going to cancel. Okay? So 1 times 5t is 5t. 1 times 6 is 6 times the t. And 1 times 30 is 30. Okay? Combined, this is 11t equals 30. Divide off the 11. And t is 11. I'm sorry, the t is 30 elevenths. Okay? Minutes. So let's convert that into something practical. Okay? T equals 30 11 minutes. Okay? That would be something like, if I use a decimal approximation, 30 divided by 11, t equals 2.72. The 72 repeats minutes. Or 11 goes into 30 2 times, and 2 times 11 is 22, so that would leave a remainder of 8. So something like that, okay? All right. Next, I'm going to pause this and do the next problem. All right, with this final problem, we're looking at, it takes the West printer 10 minutes to make 50 copies of the department handbook alone. When the East copier was also used, it took 8 minutes to do the task. Find out how long it would take the East copier to do the job alone. So this time, it's not a matter of just plugging the first 2 rates that you see in for A and B. It's not that simple, okay? What you have to do is you have to pay attention to what you're being asked, okay? What these values mean. Okay, you know we all have 1 over, 1 over, 1 over, and 1 over. Now, it takes the West printer 10 minutes to do this job alone. When the East copier was also used, it took 8 minutes to do the task. That means these two are working together, and it took 8 minutes. So 8 belongs under here, okay? Because that's the time it took the two working together. What we don't know is the rate of the second one working alone. All right. The least common denominator between lowest number that 8 and 10 divide evenly is 40 times the b. Okay? You could use 80b and you should still get the same answer. You'll just have to reduce things. Okay? You'll be dealing with larger numbers. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to take 1/10 times 40b plus 1 over b times 40b equals 1 over 8 times 40b. Now, 40 divided by 10 is 4. Okay? Here the b's will cancel, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. Okay? So 1 times 4, let me write this a little bit bigger. Not much. Okay? 1 times 4 gives me 4b plus 40 equals 1 times 5 is 5 times b. Let me move this problem over here, copy it, and finish it. So 4b plus 40 equals 5b. I got b's on both sides. I'll go ahead and subtract this one. And 40 equals a single b. Okay? So we would take the East copier, 40 minutes to do task
A lot.
Okay? All right, that's it for the whole thing.